This is the main news from Korea. Former party leader Lee Jun-seok is not shooting inside, but is shooting from behind the people, and the victim is President Yoon Suk-yeol and the people. Lee Jun-seok, former party leader, continues to go here and there, and it seems to be a matter of the people's power to just let it go. The essence of the case of former party leader Lee Jun-seok is the sexual harassment case that Lee Jun-seok himself received. Former party leader Lee Jun-seok only needs to reveal his truth about this case. When former party leader Lee Jun-seok is rationalizing himself in all directions to cover up his obscene corruption, the left-biased media report this as an issue and let the people know the essence of the Lee Jun-seok incident. He is doing his best to make it recognized as a confrontation between the young Lee Jun-seok and the corrupt power of the people. The power of the people and the media should approach it with the essence of this case. Even if it is not accepted by the left-biased media, the issues related to former party leader Lee Jun-seok should be dealt with by focusing on his scandalous sexual assault case. There is a migratory politician who crosses the ruling and opposition parties in the political arena of Udo. An elderly man named Kim Jong-in, who crosses the Democratic Party and the National Power Party, appears on several TV shows because he lacks pocket money. I said that I personally feel sorry for him because he gave it to me, but I feel really sad. There is a saying that people should be good at their later years. However, it seems that this is not the case with this person, so there is a pity in the corner of his heart. This migratory bird who crosses between the Democratic Party and the National Power Party should receive a few pennies and listen to the public opinion about President Yoon calmly and think about why the people are doing this, but he points out that he has been insensitive in the meantime. The problem is getting more and more twisted. He said that he had to recognize the current situation as it is and come up with an answer that is right for it. It is known that he referred to the conflict between President Yoon and former People's Power Representative Lee Jun-seok as absence of political power. He believes that the responsibility lies on both sides, but the leader must show the ability to persevere and harmonize, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It is said that if we had been together during the election, President Yoon also said that there should be a generosity to embrace former party leader Lee Jun-seok, who had eaten chalice at least once, but there was no such thing, so the same thing is happening today. Also, the left-wing progressive, Yushimin, seems to be right. Yushimin said that when he turned 60, his brain said what he said rots. I don't think it reminds me of the drug chalice that Lee Jun-seok, a person named Jong-in Kim, took. Please, Kim Jong-in, I wish you a long life with the right spirit. In connection with the recent gang assault of monks in front of Bongyunsa Temple in Gangnam, Seoul, a Buddhist group held a rally and called for the resignation of the Bongyunsa governor and the landowner. The participating Buddhist Solidarity, the Jogye Order's Democratic Union, and the Buddhist Church held a rally in front of Bongyunsa Temple in Seoul on the 21st and claimed in a resolution that this violent incident was a pre-prepared rigging case in which not only Bongyunsa Director A, but also Jae-seung's members were mobilized. He then urged the monks involved in the incident to resign, saying that it could only be said that he had been instructed or acquiesced to the priest of Bongyunsa Temple. In addition, the Jogye Order insisted on apology to the public at the religious level, disciplinary action against those involved, and preparation of measures to prevent recurrence. Jogye sect unions and others criticized the Jogye Order as being immortalized domestically and internationally as an immoral image of drinking, gambling, and violence. These groups have long been reluctant to visit temples because Buddhists are shy. The people are demanding a reform of religious power that exposes the bare face. The Jogye Order and the monks must confess and confess for themselves. Otherwise, he criticized that he would not escape the responsibility. It is said that these groups bowed 1,080 times after the rally was over. From Seoul to Jeju, they crossed the sea to gain the trust of the people, but they only bowed 1,080 times. Even if it is confirmed through investigation that a public official secretly sold personal information such as my home address and phone number to someone, I cannot know the leak at all. According to the current interpretation of the Personal Information Protection Act, the agency belonging to the corrupt public official responsible for notifying me of the leak has no way of knowing my personal information. This is because the investigation agency that knows this information is not obligated to inform the agency responsible for managing personal information. Victims are inevitably exposed to other crimes without knowing that their personal information has been leaked. The Personal Information Protection Committee, which is in charge of managing and supervising personal information, has set out to find a way to solve this problem. The Personal Information Commission announced on the 19th that it would first make a legal interpretation basis that the procedure for cooperating with investigation data for personal information leakage notification is possible under the Personal Information Protection Act, after deliberation and resolution by the Personal Information Commission on the 31st at the earliest. In fact, there was an unprecedented situation in which a public personal information leak by a public official led to the worst crime of murder. In the course of the investigation, it was revealed that there were 1,100 more cases of personal information that this public official sold for 20,000 won per case to the Hyungshin office from 2020, but the victims were not aware of it for more than half a year. This is because the investigative agency was hesitant to share the investigation data with the city hall responsible for notifying the leak because there is no relevant law. The Personal Information Commission, which was launched in August 2020, also failed to provide a legal basis for an unprecedented situation that was not anticipated by the Personal Information Protection Act. Notifying victims of personal information leakage was necessary for the relief and prevention of secondary damage, but the golden time was missed. Only after this fact was reported, the prosecution later shared the investigation data with the City Hall, and on the 21st of last month, the victims were notified of the leak of personal information. However, the prosecution, which changed its position after half a year, could not give a clear answer to the reporter's question about the legal basis for providing the investigation information. It was later revealed that Chinese President Xi Jinping had asked U.S. President Joe Biden to stop House Speaker Nancy Pelosi from visiting Taiwan, but President Biden refused to do so and even sent a warning message. Citing a senior White House official on the 20th, The Washington Post reported that Xi Jinping expressed concern over Pelosi's visit to Taiwan in a phone call with President Biden on the 28th of last month and expressed his position to find a way to prevent it. But Biden rejected Xi Jinping's request, saying Pelosi had the power to make independent decisions on foreign visits, citing the principle of separation of powers, The Washington Post reported. President Biden then warned Xi Jinping not to take any provocative action, even if Pelosi visits Taiwan. Reports continued that the two leaders clashed over the Taiwan issue in a phone call between the US and China last month, but it was not disclosed that Xi Jinping asked to deter Pelosi's visit to Taiwan, and that President Biden refused to do so. High-ranking US officials expressed deep concern over Pelosi's visit to Taiwan, and some criticized it as an act for personal political purposes, The Washington Post said. It only heightened tensions between the administration and the House of Representatives, he said. Foreign media reported that a popular Chinese portal site questioned the effectiveness of a treatment for COVID-19 and was subject to censorship by the authorities. According to the South China Morning Post in Hong Kong on the 21st, the social network service SNS account of Dingxianjiayuan, a Chinese medical portal site, was suddenly suspended. It is known that Ding Xiangyuan was recently sanctioned for posting a post questioning the effectiveness of Lianhuaqingyuan, which the Chinese authorities are pushing as a treatment for COVID-19. In April, Ding Xianjiayuan published an article stating that Lianhuaqingyuan, a traditional Chinese medicine, had no effect on the treatment of COVID-19. It also expressed concern about the authorities distributing it as a treatment. The South China Morning Post said that although authorities did not give specific reasons, there was a growing suspicion that Ding Xiangyuan raised doubts about the effectiveness of Lianhuaqingyuan. Previously, the censorship of public opinion by the Chinese authorities was controversial. In May, the social media accounts of economists who criticized the Chinese government's high-intensity quarantine policy, Zero Corona, were blocked one after another. Following the closing of the Weibo account of Honghua Research Center head of Bocom International, a securities company affiliated with the transportation bank that posted videos and articles about the Shanghai lockdown, the accounts of Pu Feng, chief economist of Northeast Securities, and Dan Bin, CEO of Shenzhen Oriental Harbor Investments, were also closed. It was banned with a violation of rules tag. A professor who questioned China's zero-corona policy has stopped writing comments on the news app Tuxiao. Wang Sicheng, the only son of Wanda Group chairman Wanda Group, was deleted after his Weibo account with 40 million followers was deleted. It is known that he was sanctioned for posting questions about the effectiveness of Lianhuaqingyuan, a coronavirus treatment, and Shanghai's quarantine policy. Among them, as the Chinese government recently reported that big tech companies are taking over algorithms, internet censorship in China is expected to intensify. On the 12th, the National Cyber Information Office, a Chinese internet supervisory body, released a list of 30 companies that have registered algorithms with the authorities based on the Internet Information Service Algorithm Recommendation Management Regulations. These included services frequently used by Chinese people in their daily life, such as Tencent's WeChat, the main search engine Baidu, and Alibaba's Tmall and Douyin. The algorithms that determine how these companies provide customized content to their customers are in the hands of Chinese authorities. Accordingly, there is an analysis that internet control in China will be stronger from a passive method centered on censorship and deletion to an active method through an algorithm. Lee Jun-seok, former leader of the People's Power, mentioned a former attendant who exposed him and said that he would hold them accountable. On the 21st, former CEO Lee shared the revelations of Lim Se-young, who was a former attendant, through Facebook on the 21st, and said that he was telling the story that he could not handle later. On the same day, lawyer Kong Shin-up, who is the legal representative of IKEI's CEO Kim Jong-in, who is being investigated by the police over allegations of sexual harassment by former CEO Lee, released his testimony through Facebook. In the testimony of Mr. Lim, which was released by lawyer Kong, he said that I knew about Lee Jun-seok well, but he was very disgusted when he saw the remarks he emphasized for party members and the people on a recent broadcast. It included content that he didn't listen to. In response to Mr. Lim's allegations, former CEO Lee said that the person who had been in the training for about a month when he first went to the election 6 years ago was talking a lot here and there, and I said that I had no interaction with this person for 6 years after that. Furthermore, my parents said that they do not interact with the constituency party members separately except when they come to help during the election period to avoid misunderstandings. Of course, he came to me and said there was no need to say anything like that. In addition, former CEO Lee revealed the contents of his text message conversation with Mr. Lim, and he said that he did not know what was going on, but that he would respond thoroughly. CEO Lee said to Lim this morning that he couldn't believe it, but Kong Shin-up said that he did everything Se-young said, and can he be responsible for everything that appeared on YouTube? If there is nothing to correct, I left a message saying that I would respond immediately. In addition to the revelations of Mr. Lim mentioned through the lawyer Kang's Facebook page on the same day, it seems that Mr. Lim appeared on the YouTube channel on the 16th and mentioned the contents of the disclosure about former CEO Lee. According to the revealed text message, the last time the two exchanged contact was on March 24. According to the contents, former President Lee did not answer Lim's phone call at the time, and Mr. Lim sent a message of congratulations on the election victory and support for the June local election to former President Lee, but Lee did not reply. Moon Jae-hye, Moon Jae-in's daughter, released pictures of Moon Jae-in's leisurely daily life on Sunday morning. Jae-hye Moon, known as a member of the Justice Party, who is said to have studied at a far-right university in Japan and who she might be considered a pro-Japanese far-right, posted several photos of Moon Jae-in on her Twitter on the morning of the 21st. In one photo, Moon Jae-in is eating noodles for a Sunday morning meal. Suddenly looking at this picture, I remember the remarks made by Lee Sun-kwon, a North Korean puppeteer, and the chef of the Pyongyang Naengmyeon restaurant. They said to the visiting group of South Koreans who are reluctant to invest in North Korea, "Do you think the Naengmyeon from the South Korean comrades tastes delicious?" Moon Jae-hye, the daughter of Moon Jae-in, who opened a Twitter account in May, often posts pictures of Moon Jae-in spending his daily life in every corner of Pyeongsan village, Yangsan. In May and July, she even posted accusations that she was low-level towards people who were swearing and shouting near Moon Jae-in's house. Thank you for watching today. Please like and subscribe.